Hello there everyone and welcome back. In the last video I went through the installation of Vim and installing the plugins and also a language server for shell scripting. In this video I want to go through the vimrc file and I'm going to show you what's where and what's what basically. And I actually want to also show you how the completion and the snippets work, since in the last video we got a language server for shell scripting. I'm going to actually go ahead and create a very small and easy shell script to show you how the completion and the snippets work. So if I come here and type vim find.sh to make the file, it's a shell script, so it's a .sh file. In my vimrc, if you do bs in normal mode, it just pastes #bin/bin/bash for you, which is very convenient for anyone who does shell scripting or sysadmin work. So I want to make a script that looks for the existence of a file and reports back to us with a simple yes or no. So I'm going to say file name, and I'm going to equal that to a $1. Now, I'm going to go here and I actually create my if statement. I'm going to type if, and then I'm going to press the end key, and the snippet is going to go ahead and create that if statement for me, and also select the condition in visual mode so that I can start typing here. And what I want to type here is /f, and then I will do quotation, I will do $, and then as you can see it's suggesting file name for me. So all I do here is press tab, it auto completes it, and I'm going to close down the quotation. So at this point, I can also go down here and create my reports. So I want echo yes, and then I want else. You can see that again I tapped and enter, it auto indents and auto completes it. So I will then do echo again, and I will do a no. So this should be alright. Let's save it. Space W saves the file. And now I want to actually use the built-in terminal, which I have created. I haven't created, I've implemented Flowterm. Space T brings up a terminal. This is Vim's terminal. So I'm going to go chmod plus X to the find.sh, and now I'm going to simply just run it in here. So you never have to leave it. Right, I have to give it an argument. So find.sh, let's do .vimrc. It says yes, and if I say something else, it says no. Okay, so it's not about shell scripting, it's about the syntax and the highlighting, the indentation, the snippets working, the auto completion thingy working. It's about that. So now we're gonna go through the vimrc. So capital V gets us into vimrc, and let's start from the beginning of the plugins. Right then, first section is the color schemes, and I've only uncommented the first two ones, which is Grovebox and Monokai. You can mess around with these ones, see which ones you like. Basically, I uncomment the one you want, save the file, space W, space OP to source it, and then you do plug, and then you do install. So it's gonna go ahead and download that paper color theme, and we're gonna now be able to select it. So space C brings us the fuzzy theme selector, color scheme selector. I'm gonna click on paper color, and now I have a paper color theme. And if you want to make that permanent, I will show you where that is in the when I get to it. So next thing is completion engine. This is the Vim completes me works very well with coc.nvim. coc.nvim is what's responsible for the drop-down completion menu, and Vim completes me basically allows you to use your tab key to auto-complete and go through those options instead of using your arrow keys to go up and down. So these two work extremely well together. I've never seen anyone use it in this way, but it just works perfectly fine. And then we have snippets. And these two plugins have to go together. This one is a snippet management system, Ulti Snips, and Vim Snippets by Honza are the ones that are actually allowing us to basically do the snippet stuff. So these two also go together. You may also want to revisit this repository and read the snippets and basically see what snippets are available to you. Next thing is beautify your code. It's a JavaScript thing. You press Ctrl F, and if you have a JavaScript file which is just messy and ugly and everything is all over the place, you Ctrl F and it beautifies, or basically makes it all in order and nice and clean. This is nerd tree. Naturally, we know what nerd tree is. This is nerd tree, and the way I toggle between the code environment and nerd tree is by Control arrow keys, and these brackets only appear around the icons when you source the file while you're in it. So Once you go out and come back in, those brackets won't be there. This is nerd3, and as you can see that I have given it the on option, which makes it an on-demand plugin. But I've also created an argument down there, which basically opens nerd3 as soon as you enter Vim. So if you don't want that, I'll show you where you can disable it. And if I want to close NeoVim here, I can just ZZ out of it here, and then space N, which space is my leader, and it brings it back on. And space N again, you can see that I can't actually toggle it off with space N because the argument down there, it's keeping it auto-opened, basically. So I assume most of you want this functionality, so I can put it in here, but you can change it. Now for the status line, we have Hackline, which is a new plugin created by a guy I met on YouTube. I met on Reddit. It's a very nice status line thingy. It's very similar to Vim's built-in status line with the addition of nice colors and all. You can try to mess around with it. It does still have a few bugs, but I've kept it in there because I'm using it and I'm collaborating with the maker of it to make it better. But the default option is Lightline. So this is the Lightline that you see down here. As you can see, I have given it the Gravbox theme. Insert mode changes color, and visual mode again changes color. So it's nice. Now this one, CSS colors, it helps us see the CSS colors in a little block of color once we are editing a CSS file, or basically anywhere that we have CSS colors. Like I have nothing in this VM to show you how it actually works. You don't need to do anything. If you have CSS colors like those hexa codes or whatever, it will actually show you the color, so you don't have to go look for what color that is. It's very convenient if you're editing window manager files or any other sort of files, or if you're doing web development. It's very convenient and very nice. The next one is so that we can comment and uncomment stuff easily. The way you uncomment stuff is you do a visual selection and you do leader CC that comments it out. If you want to uncomment it, leader CU uncomments it. Very convenient. Next one is a markdown. Is a markdown live preview. If you're in a markdown file, you can just press F8 and that will open up a markdown preview. Let me see if it actually works on this fresh machine. If I do a vim readme.md, that wasn't a dot. So that's a markdown file, and let me just put something in it. Let's say usage, and I have snippets here, so I can do TB, I believe, an end key, and it creates a table for me. So this is it's a great thing about snippets. And let me save it, and if I do F8, it should launch Firefox, so that we can see our, there we go, we can see our live preview of our markdown file. And if I come down here and if I do something like an image and do end key again, as you can see, it does create the snippet thing for me. And if I do control, what's it, control? Yeah, control J and K lets me go visual mode to the next option and just start typing there, and you know, it's very convenient. Alright, so that works. Let's come back here. And this is the live server for the HTML, CSS, JavaScript files. So if I again go back there and clean out of that and create a index.html, don't mind that error, I'll tell you why that is there. Let's create something. Let's just create the HTML tag. I don't have the HTML completion thing, that's why it's not auto-completing HTML for me. But once I do COC HTML, it will autocomplete that for me. So I will do body, and let's also do a body here. And in the middle of it, I will do a P. Again, I can do P and end key so that it completes it. I could also do that with the rest of this. I didn't remember. Let's say this is a line of text, right? So save it, and then we're gonna press F2, the function key, and unable to connect. Sometimes it happens, it's a bit buggy, but it's better than nothing, to be honest. Let me go to the tab again, save it, and then press F3 to reload it. F2 again. There we go. So it's a bit buggy, but it's better than nothing. It's better than having to keep coming to your browser and, you know, going with the mouse, clicking this, or going Control R. So it eventually works. I assume it's gonna get better over time. Now, this is a very important, this helps us fix Vim's clipboard annoyance because it's a CLI app. I think also GVim has this problem. I don't really use GVim. So let's say I want to come here and do we have something that's already loaded? Okay, let me say I want to copy this thing, and I will do copy it normally. Just Control C or right click and copy it like that. Now, if your terminal allows you to do Control Shift V, that's great. But if it doesn't allow you to do that, let me see if this one does, Control Shift V, doesn't actually allow me to do that. So what you will do is you will start visual line or visual mode or whatever, and then you will do CV. And it actually didn't paste anything because we probably have nothing in the clipboard. Copy. And visual mode CV, there you go. So once you copy it correctly, you can do visual mode CV to paste it. And in case I want to copy something from Vim to paste into my browser, I can again do a visual selection and do CP. Okay, and I come here and I can open it here and I can do CV, Control V, I mean, not CV. And again, of course, that pasted there. So the Vim Surround plugin, it's very useful. I find the keyboard needs to be a bit weird, but once you practice it, it actually becomes quite easy to work with. Like you can see, I've created you a bunch of hints for you here. YSIW double quotation surrounds one word with the double quotation sign. So if I come here and do YSIW double quotation, it just surrounds it in there. And it's very useful. If I do YSS parentheses, it will do an entire line. So if I do YSS parentheses, as you can see, it did the entire line. But we already had some parentheses in there, so it kind of got confused there. Now, if I do YSS tag P, I can surround it with the tag P. Like if I come here, and if I come down here and say this is yet another enough text, right? So I can go into my normal mode, and I can do YSS, then I will do P. There you go. And it just auto-completes it, basically. So that's nice. And the next one is the fuzzy finding stuff. You can do like space W, space capital W. It will show you the open windows. I have nerd3 as a window open, I have vimrc as a window open, so that's basically only two. And if I get out of there, I can do space C. This is a color scheme chooser selector that I already showed you. That's also with the fuzzy stuff. I can do space capital H and C to go through my plugins, to go through my command lines history. It's very useful again. And it also does a bunch of other stuff. Like I can do space S. I can do a fuzzy search here. So I can do like, well, excuse me, god damn it. I can do like .bashrc, and if fuzzy finder is set up correctly, it will find it, or if you can use it correctly. I don't use fuzzy finder that much myself, so I'm actually not very good at finding stuff in a fuzzy way. This one is the syntax checking. It's syntactic. Its options are down below. Basically, if I have a problem in my code, there we go. So it didn't understand else as a syntax problem, but it did understand the fee one as a syntax problem. It opened this error tab here, and it's going to tell me that syntax error unexpected end of file, because we need to have it correct. So let me actually go ahead and clean out this part and save it and go back. So it's not that strict, but it's again very useful. We have this alignment plugin that helps you basically align stuff. So if I have, let me go back into my readme.md file, and if I come down here and have 12 equals 2, 12 equals something, blah blah blah, equals like other stuff. So as you can see, it's very unaligned and ugly. So what I do is here is select it in the visual mode, yes, and then I will do the command line, and I will do tabularize / and the sign that I want to align. So I will do / equal sign, and it aligns the equal signs with one another. It's very useful, very nice to have. Then next we have search and open previous files. Space M, leader M, brings up your previous files. You can just simply press enter on any of these ones and open it. And what else do we have here? This is a Startify screen, so space I gets you into your Startify screen. Very convenient, very useful. Flow term is the one I already showed you, which is space and T. It's a floating terminal. You can do every terminal thing you could possibly imagine there. And we also have a couple of mappings for flow file management. If I do space with V for VIFM, it opens my VIFM in the flow terminal. The flow terminal is actually Vim's built-in terminal, which is this one, right? But it doesn't open at the bottom, it just opens in a floating mode. So it's nothing really complex. Then we have indent line. As you probably saw me there, let me open my HTML file here. As you can probably see, I have these indent lines here, and that's thanks to that indent line plugin. And the way I resize the split, by the way, is by holding Shift and using arrow keys. And then we have which key, which is space H, and it tells you all the key bindings that are, most of them are with the leader key, the rest of them are, like this one is CJ, it's actually Control J, so this one Control page down, you know, Control Vim keys, arrow keys, and whatnot. So, the plugins end there. Now we have a bunch of options for the cursor here. Now, it doesn't actually work in XFCE terminal, which is this one that I'm using, I don't know why, but in every other terminal, once you're going to insert mode, your cursor will become an I-beam, and once you're in mode or visual mode, your cursor will be this block thing. So I don't know why it doesn't work in XFCE terminal, but I don't use XFCE terminal, and I really don't care for it that much to actually sit and figure it out. But it works everywhere else. It works in Xterm, works in console, works in GNOME terminal, works in GVim, works in Alacrity, Kitty. I think I did an Xterm and URX3D test as well. It works in Tmux. It works everywhere except for an XFCE terminal, so go figure out what it does. And then we have set GUI cursor plus equals blink on 0. This is to disable the annoying blinking cursor of GVM. If you like it, we'll delete this line. Now the clipboard, we have named it to unnamed plus, which is for Linux. For OS X and Windows users, name it to unnamed, as I have set here. So you would go up there, you will comment that one out, and you will uncomment this one, and you will source it and save it. I don't want that, so I will undo this. I explained how the clipboard plugin works. It has other features such as CPIV, copy word into system clipboard, CPI, single quotation, copy single quotes to system clipboard. Refer to it if you need hints. Now we have some usual things here. If you're using folds and you want your folds to be persistent, you will have to uncomment this argument here. If you don't know what folds are basically when you select something in visual mode. I've set it into manual, so I have to do it manually. Then I do ZF and it folds that for me. Now, if I go back, if I go out from Vim and I come back in, my fold won't be here. So if I want that to be persistent, I will uncomment that argument. And ZA unfolds it, and ZC folds it again. So folds are pretty decent. I like folds. Now we have this part here, which is already uncommented for you, which helps you. If I go back out and come back in, as you can see, Vim remembers that my cursor was at this certain position, and it will save that for me. So you will never have to look for where you were previously. And these are a bunch of just normal stuff. Honestly, I don't really want to go through them because they are kind of trivial. They have their very important effects, but I think everyone knows about them, so I'm actually not going to actually talk about them. If you find something to be weird in here or you don't know what it is, just look for it. It's educational as well. Now, this one actually is useful. In case your backspace is not working correctly, which means if you press backspace and it doesn't actually delete letters, it just goes over them with the cursor. Uncomment this line. I have experienced this in GVim, in the CLI, in the GUI application, also on Windows. I believe this is one of those VI compatible things, because in VI, once you backspace, you actually just if I backspace in VI, it will actually just go over the stuff that I've already typed in insert mode, and I can retype over them. That's a VI thing. So I assume it's one of those VI compatible things, even though we're not using VI. So uncomment this one to have your backspace back. And this is for the right to left languages, set term BD. Obviously you need half buzz and bicon. Thought it's useful to be there. Now we have theme. So this is where you would actually come to specify your theme. This is a statement that I've written. So if terminal supports these 256 colors, it will enable GUI it will enable GUI true colors, and if not, it will just make it compatible, basically. So if I want to change my color scheme to, let's say, Monokai, I just come here and do Monokai here, right? And I will save it and source it, and then I will have Monokai. So should I go out and come back into Vim again? Don't mind that. Right, so I have changed the terminal, I have changed the color scheme, but I didn't change the color scheme of the light line, which I need to do. So I will search for light line here, and I will have to come down here to, come on, to here, where it says color scheme. I will go ahead, I will go forward, and I will change that to, let's say, just power line, right? I will save it and I will source it, and it does give an error, we don't care about it, we go back in and everything should be fine, and they are. Now for this, as you can see, the indent line isn't actually playing very nicely with us, so we'll search for indent line. Yes, we'll go to the next one. So indent line, follow theme change to 1 if colors are, wow, I'm impolite. So I will change it to 1, I will source it, and I will see that my indent lines will be fixed. So let me go out, come back in, and I see that my indent lines are fixed. So if you see errors, don't panic, just search the file. I probably have an option for it. We have other color schemes as well. We can just set them the same way. Be mindful of the light line theme. Now, below statement is for Everforest colors. Everforest is a very nice color scheme. Everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people like it. So the options that you must uncomment to get it working are the ones marked with two double quotation marks. And this is for the Enfocado theme. Uncomment the ones you like. Set background dark, light line, indent line I already showed you. Now, this thing is for the NetRW customization that I have done. So if I press space E, it will toggle NetRW, and it basically works like nerd3. And if I space E again, it closes it. So that is a toggle that I've mapped to work. And if I press enter here, it opens it in the next buffer instead of just open it all over the place. So let me make my vimrc here. Some people have a prejudice against nerd3, I guess. So if you're one of those people, or you just find nerd3 to be too slow for you, just use netrw if you're used to it. Uncomment all of these arguments to have netrw basically work such as nerd3 does. It will auto load. It will stay on the left side. It's just nice. So pretty self-explanatory. Now these ones are the options that are already available in case you want to open netrw every once in a while. So the nice stuff. This is my status line. It's a very basic status line. It just doesn't show you modes or anything. It just tells you where the file is, where in the file you are, how much % have you gone through the file, and which line you are on, and the file format. That's everything it does. So these options are for the hack line in case you want to use hack line. Naturally, you will have to disable light line if you want to change it to another. Let me actually do it. Let me just actually select this section. I have a lot of nice options for light line. As you can see, that light line doesn't expand below nerd3, which was very annoying. So I wrote in a function so that it works that way. So let me comment out this section, and I will now I'm going to just show you my light line, actually, my status line. So I will select it. Oh my god. Why are you doing this? I can't see half of my keyboard, so if I'm making mistakes, that's why. Microphone is in front of me. Now if I source it, I can see that we have a very basic status line down there. We have the address of our file, the format of our file, line, and percentage. So that's how easy it is to basically change these status lines and whatnot. So it's going, and there are a bunch of functions for status lines, for the light line status line. I've customized it beyond good, to be honest. I recommend using that one to you. Now these are options for syntactic. Everything is documented here. For example, let G syntactic always populate lock list. 0 is off. 1 is the error window will be automatically opened when errors are detected. That I showed you how it works. Just read the file on things in here. Nothing I can explain here further than actually rereading this comment for you. Other custom mappings with the leader key space, as you can see here. So we have no remap, leader N opens nerd tree, leader E toggles netrw, leader V floater and VIFM, leader R ranger. Do we have ranger? No, we don't have ranger. So, oh, we have ranger. Okay, it's nice, I guess. Leader capital T opens a new tab. So if I do leader shift T, there we go. That's a new tab. It doesn't have a name, it's just an empty file. You can start editing something in here, for example. And if you want to close this tab, space X closes that tab. You can do leader MK to make view for the floating, for the folds. So if I fold a bunch of stuff, I need to make view. I will do space MK, and the next session I will do load session, load view, and it will load it for me. I told you about the server things, and leader D goes ahead and actually deletes. It's a function I made. It's not that good, but it's better than nothing as far as I could make it at this point, which goes ahead and actually deletes the duplicate lines. So if I open a new file here, and if I do std dds std std dds, right? So now if I save this file, it was written. Now if I do leader D, as you can see, we still have the duplicates, but the duplicates that are right next to each other were deleted. So I suppose that's useful. Leader M opens your previous files as I already showed you, and you can also refer to the space H which key menu to learn about these key bindings, and leader I pops you back into the Startify menu. Quite useful. JJ works as escape, BS paste bin bash. OP sources the file that you're in. It definitely has to be a vimrc file or a .vim file. CN in normal mode, like if I'm in normal mode here and I do cn, it pastes console.log, which is a JavaScript thing. It's very annoying that we have to type it that much, but it's useful here. These are basically educational, so you can see that how easy it is to create a mapping that pastes something. And leader W saves the file, and leader U is actually pretty useful. So let me open this one again, and let's say I want this to go to the top. So I do leader U, and okay, I need to have one extra line on the top. If I do leader U, you can see DDS goes to the top, and I do git again, STD goes to the top. Now if I do something like this, space U puts that on the top. So it's pretty useful. And F6 toggles the local spell checker. So if I do F6, you can see that it's telling me that this one is actually wrong. I can do space Z, and it will try to fix it to the best of its ability. I can attempt to fix a whole line by doing spell L, space L, and it's actually trying to fix an entire line. I know it's a very ugly ass function here that I've written. It's actually a macro, but again, best I could do at this point. These are options regarding the spell checker. So now we are going to talk about how to navigate between the splits. So if I open a VS here, right, and if I open a SP here, I told you that we can do shift arrow keys to resize these, and we do control arrow keys to go between these splits, or we just do control and Vim keys to go between these splits. Now control and arrow keys may not work in every terminal. For example, it won't work, I believe it doesn't work in Tmux, so you will have to use the Vim keys. These are basically fallback options, so that it's nice to have. Now we have, I told you about the shift stuff. We have, if you have a bunch of tabs here, Let me open just a bunch of tab files here. Now I can use Alt and arrow keys to move between these tabs, but some terminals don't allow it, such as this XFC terminal. Again, this is up to you to figure out why your terminal isn't allowing your key binding to work. But we have a fallback option, which is, for example, space S, space 3 goes to the third tab, space 2 to the 2 tab, second tab, and space 1 to the first tab. So it's nice. Within Tmux, this won't also work because Tmux holds on to your Alt key. So that's why we have this fallback option. Told you about leader X that closes the tabs. We can do a tab move. I can do leader TM. As you can see, it put tab without vimrc tab as the fourth tab. We have a bunch of other stuff. We can do leader B as a fuzzy buffer thing. We have files, Windows history. Let me just do a history. There we go, that's my history. And we have maps. We can do leader M, capital M. This is all the mappings of all the plugins. You can actually search for them too. If I look for nerd tree, you can see that it lists all the nerd tree mappings for me. So that's also convenient to have. There are a bunch of other options that I've made that I use myself quite often. These are for indentations of HTML. Now you remember that I created a HTML file with Vim, and it gave me an error that it didn't find the skeleton.xml. Now that is actually fixable. Let me tell you why that is. That is because it's actually looking for a skeleton file of HTML to auto-load once I make an HTML file. So if I actually go ahead and delete these lines and save this file, I can actually go out of Vim. Let me just open my VIFM in this case and change this to skeleton.xml, and I will press enter. Then I will yank this and I will come here, do a ZA, going to my Vim folder and put it there. Now if I create another HTML file, let's say new.html, it will auto-load that skeleton for me. Now this skeleton can be as complex as we want. It can be for whatever language that you use, as long as you use this argument. You can do an argument group, a file format, and then you will do a wildcard here for your file format that wants to be auto-loaded. You will give it the address and it will work. This can be for C, this can be work for Python, JavaScript, whatever language really. It's just possibilities are endless. F6 to turn off the spell language checker. These are options for nerd3. In case you want to disable nerd3 completely, delete this part and enable the netrw. Some people suggested that I use COC Explorer. I messed around with it for a few days. I honestly hated it, so I didn't really bother figuring it out because it wasn't working the way I wanted it to, so it was annoying to me. But if you want that, you can also get that one. Just delete the lines about nerd3. Now I've commented out everything here, like this option removes pressed question mark for help on top of nerd3, which is really annoying. It just sits right here on top of your nerd3. It's really annoying and ugly. So everything is commented. Really, there's nothing I would explain further than I have commented. These are the functions and colors. Let me see what else is there. So these are options for beautify code. As you can see, it will work on such files: HTML, CSS, JSX, JSON, JavaScript. Works with Control F. This is a live server thingy. Path to Chrome, you can give it a path to Chrome. This actually works by default with your XDG portal. So if you have set it up correctly, if you have a environmental global browser, it will just open that, which in this system was Firefox. Now we have the Markdown server. F8 and F9 do their own thing. Stop Markdown, start Markdown, you know. And this is just a hint for the commands of HTML, CSS, JavaScript live server. And these are options for the Startify menu. As you can see that it's saying Vim here once we open it. And the reason for that is that we have told it to say Vim. But we can change that. We can tell it to say hello. If I can type. And if I save it, if I go out of Vim, let me close all this stuff. So if I do Vim again, now it will say hello. So I have no bias about this. Use whatever word you want. Now, this is an option that I had to add here because some people are kind of insane and want to go to a new tab with Goyo enabled. I used to ship Vim with Goyo, which was a plugin that aligns everything in the center. It doesn't. Vim doesn't come with Goyo anymore. But in case you want to use Goyo, and in case you're insane and want to open a new tab with Goyo enabled, this option will prevent everything to go down to hell. And bookmarks and syntax, you can change your bookmarks. Like for instance, in this system, i3 configuration is not here, so I will do a .config here. And now if I go back out and come back in, and I do a capital I will be popped into Endeavor OS's build of i3, this configuration. So let's go back into our vimrc file. You can figure out your own bookmarks. The vimrc and the bashrc ones, which are the most important ones, work out of the box. These are lists. There was an option here, type dir header mru get cwd. I really couldn't tell what the hell it does, so I've just commented out in case someone knows what it does, we'll use it, but I can't tell what the fuck it does. And these are for the colors. These are options for the flow term. As you can see, it's pretty self-explanatory. Auto hide equals 0, which means it's off. Auto close equals 2. Height equals 30. Width equals 120. Pretty self-explanatory. We have dictionary settings for which key. As you can see here, we have a bunch of stuff shown to us while we press leader H. This needs a dictionary to read from. I've created one, let G colon dict equal. So this is a dictionary that space H which key is showing to us. Otherwise, it will actually show every possible key binding ever, and it's really annoying, and it's probably even unusable when it's like that. So in case you change something here, you can always come down here and follow the same syntax and add your own. I would just yank one and paste it down here and replace it with my own stuff if you want to add your own dictionary list. These are options for the colors for the which key window. As you can see, the functions are purple, the arrows are whitish, and this is grayish. Although this is the way that Monokai is interpreting these colors. In case your colors for the which keys, a person told me that his which key help menu is really purple and unusable. That was because he was using Tmux and he didn't have proper true color tmux settings in his tmux.conf, and I've redirected him to use my tmux.conf in my .files in my GitHub, and that fixed his problem. And these are for the snippets. So end key, as I showed you, it triggers the snippets, and control page down shows you a list of available snippets, and control J and control K goes in visual mode to whatever place that you can actually start typing to complete your functions or whatever it is that the snippet handled. So I will now show you how to delete plugins before we go, because that's really everything I wanted to tell you. The point of this is to prove that Vim can do everything if you configure it right. And Vim, my vimrc, is a Vim that is configured very correctly. At least I think so. And since it's been getting a lot of attention, in a matter of 2 weeks I got about 180 stars. I think that's a lot on GitHub actually, because not everyone is logged into GitHub. Everyone just downloads stuff. So it means that I'm probably doing a good job, and I'm absolutely thankful for all the stars and the support and the kind words and the people who contact me and thank me, because I have my Telegram link down in the GitHub. I'm really grateful for that. It's a lot of positive energy in my direction. It's very helpful to me. Anyway, so if you want to delete something, let's say you want to delete this paper color theme, you don't want it anymore. You just delete that line and you save it and you source it, yes, and you will do plug and you will do clean. Remember that it's camel cased. There we go. So I'm going to say yes, and that plugin will be gone. Now, when you comment out the plugin still exists. It just won't auto-load. Okay. All right. Well, that's basically it. There's honestly nothing else I can tell you about this file. It's pretty self-explanatory, and I have documented everything. I think probably very thoroughly. Let me actually do something else. Let me just get rid of nerd3 completely and use netrw instead of it. So. Because again, as I said, some people have a prejudice against nerd3, which is fine. You get to have a prejudice against nerd3 if you want to. It's free world, right? Right, let's say we don't want nerd3, so we come here, we will just select this whole section. Naturally you can delete it, but I'm going to just comment it out. There we go. Space CC. Perfect. Now I will have to go to the top of the file and come to the plugin section, find nerd3, and also comment this one out. Alright, I will save once and I will go to the netrw. So I'm going to uncomment these arguments here. And creating preview. Oh, I have one of those. Why do I have 2 of these? Oh, okay, this one is for the for redrawing. Okay, so I will also uncomment these ones. What else is there that I would want to uncomment? Project drawer, start with .file is hidden, auto CMD, yes, I'm gonna uncomment this one, close if only the only remaining tab, I'm gonna uncomment that one, and also these ones. I could use a plugin, I'm just going manually. Usual things. Okay, so let's save it. And now if I go back to Vim, you can see that Vim will actually come with netrw now. So netrw will behave like nerd3 for you, in case you want that functionality. In case you have any further questions or problems, please contact me, ask your questions, I will answer them to the best of my ability. Thank you again for the kind words and for the stars and for all the positive energy in this direction. It really means a lot to me. And I hope that I have managed to help you develop a better workflow with Vim, and that you won't no longer feel limited when you're using Vim, because Vim is the only thing that is not limited, honestly. Alright, so have a nice day and thank you for watching.